Good morning. Charles Merkel here for day 142 of 3 minute, 10 breath total body warm up. Here we are Monday morning. Had my recovery day yesterday. Ready for a great week. Off to a good start. Got myself up this morning and wow, a lot's happened in the last 48 hours. You know, the big news, and I don't watch a lot of news, so if I know about it, or if you don't, I guess saying you got a bigger rock than I do. But just thinking about the news, what's happening in the news with the U.S. Iran confrontation and the interpretation of it all. I say this because yesterday I had a unique opportunity. After church, we go to lunch. We went to a place that has a lot of TVs around, and I'm wondering if there's different managers on shift with different preferences. Because for the first half of the meal, they had the sports things on the TVs, but they also had CNN going, and of course, the big talk is what transpired with Iran. Halfway through the meal, the news channel switched to Fox and got to. And again, the big thing on the news is what happened with Iran, and it just confirms something. I've done this a few times, not for anything about trying to get the truth, but just seeing the comparison that the relevant facts you get from either CNN or Fox in about 30 seconds. About 30 seconds. And then the rest of the time is spent trying to tell you or convince you or persuade you what you should think about it and what you should believe is going on behind the scenes and what we should do about it moving forward. So just a little bit of facts, and the rest of it is persuasion. Persuasion. And I'm reminded that so much of what we believe, and this isn't just international incidents, so much of what we believe and that we've shaped our lives around is, who are we listening to? Who are we believing? Who are we going to for our relevant facts and our interpretation of those facts? Who are we listening to when it comes down to, okay, here's what's going on. What should I know about it? What should I think about it? What should I do about it? If nothing at all. What can I do about it? Or are you spending all your time convincing me there's nothing I can do about it? I should just worry. Or are you trying to tell me this is what I should think about it, and this is who I should support for it, and this is who I shouldn't support? All of it's persuasion. And at the end of the day, said, who do you believe to be not only telling you the truth, but who is telling you what's relevant for your life? Who is looking out for your good, your well-being? And not trying to be a bubble buster. Actually, I am trying to be a bubble buster. Not too many folks. Not too many. Because it seems more and more, and maybe this is just me waking up, getting as I get older and more aware, more and more folks although they seem altruistic, they seem like they have your good intentions at heart, that there's other things going on below the surface. Other things are not telling you, that there are other agendas at work. And I say all this to you to be cautious, be aware, not only evaluate and judge the information you're receiving, but who you're receiving it from. And look a little bigger picture. What is it they're after? Take me with these videos, for instance, that I'm going to do this exercise regardless for my well being. What is my motivation for coming on live every morning, 6 days a week, 6 mornings a week, to talk with you and do this exercise with you? Why do I do it? You know, well, part of it is I do want to encourage you to take steps to improve your life. There is altruistic at work. There's also a little bit of selfish at work, or at least self-serving. And that can take many forms. But the self-serving is, I'm doing this for my benefit, to strengthen me to come out of my comfort zone. I have things I want to accomplish. And these daily videos are a stepping stone towards that. My selfish motivation, one, is getting more comfortable in front of the camera, not having a routine, not having a script, not having a system or a process I follow every single time. Getting up in front of a group of folks and talking to them, although used to petrify me, is not scary anymore. But getting up, not having a script, often having no idea what I'm going to talk about when I hit that live button, which you may have gotten an idea of if you're watching past episodes, because sometimes I struggle for a little bit until something catches and I find a groove. But the thing is, or what I'm saying is I do have some self-serving motivation for doing these videos. And that is true of practically everybody at everything. Was it Mark Twain? Somebody wrote a little essay that's a banter between two people, and coming to the conclusion that, or the argument was made that everything we do has a self-serving component to it. And that in and of itself is not a bad thing. If that's what motivates you to do something, okay then. The question is, and this is true of news sources and so many other areas in life, when you're evaluating a source, the question you need to ask is that self-serving motivation of whoever's giving me information, whoever's trying to persuade me towards something, is that self-serving motivation going to prove harmful to me? Maybe they're giving me something I want for the short term, but there's a long-term cost that they're not telling me. There's a long-term cost that they're looking bigger picture. They're getting me to do something, to think something, to believe something that's self-serving to me in the short term. But because I'm not looking at the bigger picture, I'm not looking at it with a big enough lens, I'm not seeing that what they're feeding me is going to cost me, possibly in a very big way later on. So start thinking about those costs. Start looking for those costs. And then ask yourself, are you okay with the cost? So is that self-serving motivation of the other party going to hurt or help me? And am I okay with that cost? Do that. And I think you'll start, at least my hope is that you'll start making bigger picture decisions. And you'll find yourself not in some of the pickles that other people find themselves in. So, said a lot of people we talk a lot about health. Let's take health, for example. A lot of people have found themselves being fed certain decisions in the food choices we make, that there was a short-term benefit, whether that is enjoyment, the way it makes me feel, the way it tastes, the convenience factor, that there was a short-term benefit. But the long-term benefit, people are finding out, regrettably, sometimes too late, or at least with a massive uphill climb to find, is that those short-term costs compounded over time have resulted in a long-term cost that they now regret because their health is shot. Now it's regular trips to the doctor. Now it's increased medical costs. Now it's I have no time, no energy, I have no energy for doing things, or now I'm overweight, and because I'm carrying all this extra weight, so now it's affecting my quality of life. Now because I enjoyed these short-term costs here, I'm unable to enjoy life here later on in life. And that can apply to other areas as well. I mean, we could really go down the finance road and the time available road. I'll say this one more thing and then I'll get off the soapbox. We'll do the exercise. As far as the time is concerned. And this isn't a critique of anybody, because for many folks, the professional career path is the right choice. And if you made that work, fantastic, keep going. But many folks had the dream of entrepreneurship. They had the dream of doing something on their own, or something that they own. Whether it's self-employment or starting a business and a company that in time works for them. They had the dream of it. That is not the way the education system grooms us. That is not the way that the current employment pool grooms us. And the information is, to get an education, start in at a job somewhere, and follow not a recruitment, an advancement path, for getting raises and promotions, wherever it is you are. And that because the pressure and the grooming and the thought process is to follow that path, that by the time, never find the time to do the entrepreneurial, or it's too much of an unknown. And by the time you're long later in life, now it's scary. because the cost of the time is higher, if that makes sense. So again, it's about what you want. I want you to be a little selfish for a moment. Be a little selfish and really evaluate what you want. And are the choices I'm making going to get me there? And in alignment with today's talk, are the people I'm listening to going to help me get there? If not, it's time to change the audience or your sources of information. Whether that's changing news channels or turning it off altogether, you know, the audience you're keeping both personally, professionally, on social media. And who are you listening to? What media you're consuming? It's a big thing. Because cultural shifts happen in that arena. You know, look at what was not acceptable 20 years ago and what's acceptable now, good or bad. I'm not making a moral judgment here. I'm just saying it's happening, or I'm pointing out that it's happening. Yeah, but look at societally what was not acceptable 20 years ago and what is now. Dig a little bit and you'll see what changed in the media we consume. Guided that shift along. And you can use that as a tell as what's going to be acceptable 20 years from now based on what you're seeing on media today. There's a shift going on. I believe it's intentional, or at least there's some intentionality behind it. So good or bad, you have to decide. I'm not making that decision for you. I just want you to be aware so you can make the best decisions for yourself. All right. Getting off the soapbox. It is time for today's exercise. If this is your first time here, welcome to 3-minute 10 breath total body warm up. This is a 3-minute exercise, 3 minutes. So, for myself, 6 days a week. You can do it 7 starting out. But it's a resistance-based exercise using multiple muscle groups at the same time. The breathing is deeply important. During the times of exertion, you're going to exhale through the mouth. During the times of rest, you're going to inhale through the nose. So at the website, in the tag below, or you can scan the QR code, 7minutemorning.com/free training is video training on the intricacies of this exercise. So if it's your first time, welcome. Either watch or do your best to emulate. Go to the exercise or go to the video trainings, watch the trainings. There's a chance to practice so you can learn the mechanics and join me tomorrow. So, because this exercise does take practice to become efficient. So it's a very, very simple in theory. The challenge is learning to control our body and to make it work the way we want to, and learning how to control multiple muscle groups simultaneously. If you haven't done it before, it's more challenging than it sounds. All right. So again, watch along, participate. But we're going to do today's exercise. I do not talk during it, because that would reduce the effectiveness. So once I'm started, so just participate with me, and we'll chat for a moment after. Okay, let's get going. Actually, hold on just a moment. Okay. Carl, if you're on live, good morning. All right. You ready? And begin. All right. So during the recovery, after the exercise, just like during, you need to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. You'll know it's starting to come together. So at the end, you should be totally, temporarily, but completely exhausted. And it's temporary. But after that lull, so I know for myself, I have an elevated level of energy. It stays with me through the day. So it's amazing that 3 minutes can give you a higher plane. Give your health a higher plane. 3 focused minutes. And if you can do that with 3 minutes to change your health, give you an elevated level of health, what are you doing with the other 1,437 minutes? And how much of that can be utilized to build the life you want? We have the time we need. Because we have today. Do something with the time you have today. I appreciate you. I invite you to join me tomorrow. So we're getting more consistent with the time. Right now, doing about 6 o'clock. I'm going back and forth whether to do 6 or 6:30 long term. This week's going to be 6 o'clock because my kid's in VBS this week. I volunteered and I've got to be there pretty early. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Otherwise, Charles signing off. And again, evaluate, try to look bigger picture on what you're being persuaded to believe. And ask yourself, what are they getting out of it? If I go along with their line of thought, what are they getting out of it? And am I okay with that? All right. I will see you tomorrow. Charles signing off. Bye.